Welcome to the Quick Start Podcast. This is a special edition of the show. As you know, we are doing weekend editions of the show over the next couple of months, talking about investigating the supernatural, angels and demons, our new documentary. You can watch it at cbn.com/supernatural. And actually, we've got a guest on today who was our first interview a couple weeks ago on this special series, Mike Signorelli. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing real good. I'm here in New York City. I'm excited about this talk.
Okay, so you're in New York City, and we are having this conversation hours before a major event that you're hosting in Times Square. You are going to be preaching an Easter service, and this is pretty incredible, in the middle of Times Square in New York City, Easter morning. Talk about, first of all, how did this come about? Because I don't know that I've seen, maybe people have done this before. I don't know. This is pretty unique for a major church like yours to be in the middle of Times Square on Easter. So how did it come about?
Yeah, I was in a place of prayer. I live in New York City with my family. So I've got two daughters, and my wife and I are, just trying to be a light in the darkness. And of course, New York City is getting incredibly dark. And whether it's false religions, whether it's witchcraft, and we've just seen politically, it's an incredibly dark place. And so I said, okay, Easter Sunday, God, what can I do? And I just got this vision for just doing service in Times Square. And the crazy thing is, despite all the odds being against it, it was officially approved by the mayor's office. So this is not just one of those, sometimes you see these like freedom of speech type of things that are done in Times Square. This is a major event. They're literally barricading it off. There's no registration required. Anybody can come out for free. It starts at 11 a.m., but they have NYPD presence, and the whole city is actually getting behind this, which again is, as you mentioned, unprecedented. And I also just found out that it's going to be internationally televised as well. So I think God's making a big statement. This is bigger than me, bigger than our church. I think this is really about Jesus Christ. He's risen, and the message is going to get out from Times Square.
That is amazing. And obviously, if people want to watch this on Easter, where can they go? Because you mentioned it's going to be broadcast globally. Where are the different places they can go to watch it?
Yeah, I would say if they go type in Mike Signorelli and go to my YouTube channel, it is going to be live there. Everybody can get access to that globally for free. They think that'd probably be the easiest way to get it. So just go to Mike Signorelli on YouTube.
Okay, so this is coming. You're doing this at a time, that there's a lot happening in the world. There's always a lot happening in the world, but let's be honest, the last year in particular, we have been reeling from watching, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, seeing political chaos, a lot of things. It almost feels like Ephesians 6, right? Which obviously written a long time ago, so nothing new under the sun. It's describing this spiritual battle that is going on. It feels like in our lifetime, and you and I are about the same exact age, in our lifetime, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, it feels like that spiritual battle is raging at an intensity that I have not seen before in my life. It feels like both sides, the revival and the evil, they're both sort of rising at the same time. Would you say that's an accurate characterization of what you're feeling in your ministry?
Absolutely. And it's accelerating. We're seeing this in major cities like London, even in the United Kingdom. Here in New York City, we're seeing it. San Francisco, we're literally watching our major cities fall right now. Things are accelerating. Look at the perversion that's in the local school systems. Many people listening right now are experiencing the attack on their children, their children's identities. And listen, the internet has been a great thing in terms of the gospel reaching billions of people, but also we know that Satan's using it too and spreading lies. And so you have mass deception, the propaganda of hell, as I call it, and many people that are they're succumbing to that. But the good news is, God's raised up some end time warriors right now. And I know you mentioned the book of Ephesians. I read the last page of the book of Revelation. I know the outcome. We win, but it's not going to come without a fight. And that's why I asked New York City, give me permission to do Easter Sunday in Times Square. And despite, again, this is the least likely situation, but I believe God divinely and supernaturally opened this door because the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, but the violent take it by force. It's not physical violence, it's spiritual violence. It's, principalities, powers, rulers in high places. We have to wage war against them through intercession, through prayer, through evangelism. And I just have a really big expectation for what God's going to do. Billy, you had mentioned this war. I think about it a lot like the prophets of Baal versus Elijah. And there's many false gods right now, many false religions. And I'm telling you, from Times Square, we're going to call down fire and show the world whose God is the real God. I think this is going to be more than just preaching a sermon. I'm believing for supernatural healings. I'm believing for things to occur in Times Square that people will know this is not just the cunningness of words. This is not just a good motivational speech. This is the power of God on display, and we need it more than ever.
So you're hoping tomorrow to see miracles, to see God move, on Easter. I mean, what better time than Easter Sunday to be in the middle of New York City? And yeah, there are a lot of concerns. There are a lot of concerns about what is happening to New York City, to a lot of the cities around the world, as you mentioned. And obviously, we're watching rising anti-Semitism. We're watching this massive debate about Israel right now unfold,
Yeah.
dividing conservatives and Christians, and people on both, really, conservatives, liberals. Every faction seems to be divided over these things, but Christians, that's where a lot of this division is happening. And yet Easter Sunday, this time where we can come together to remember what Jesus did for us and that he overcame the grave. I mean, it's pretty amazing, all of this. So at the end of the day, you just hinted at what you hope to see. But tomorrow night, when you finish this and it's all said and done, what are you hoping has been accomplished with V1 doing this service in the middle of Times Square?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, if anybody's received this message in time and you can physically come out, I want to invite everyone to come out because this is, much bigger than any one preacher, any one worship team, or even church. And my prayer is that what happens in Times Square is a sign and a witness that God is not done with New York City, but more importantly, he's not done with America. And what happens is like the slumbering church has to awaken right now. And we're celebrating Holy Week, and the words of Jesus were, "Be sober and be vigilant." Can't you just stay up one more hour? And I really believe that right now we have to gather. I mean, short form content is rotting people's brains. We're scrolling on our phones. We become very passive. And I know it's there's a cost, getting in the car, getting on the subway, the train. But moments like this matter. There's a call to prayer that's going out across New York City for a false religion, but I believe that we've got a bigger sound system and there's a call to prayer from the Holy Spirit, and we're going to answer that call. And I'm praying that the world watches this and says, okay, it's time for true revival, not emotionalism, not hype, but repentance and revival and reformation in America. And I know there's a lot of people interceding and praying. And by the time I get back to my bed tomorrow night, my hope is that this has been a major confirmation of prophetic visions and dreams people have had.
I love that. Well, this is a major undertaking, so thank you for doing it. And, you and I have been friends for a long time, and, we often talk about the state of what is going on in our country and our world. And I do want to mention your ears have probably been ringing because we've been talking in media a lot about our documentary investigating the supernatural, angels and demons. And one of the things that you had told me the first weekend after Charlie Kirk's assassination, that you had, I think it was 500 people come to faith at your
Yeah.
church. And that's something we've said, Mike Signorelli, at his church. And like we've shared that a lot because I think there's a lot to be worried about in the world around us, but we know how the story ends, like you said. And there's also a lot going on that gives us hope in the truth, and that revival and watching. I know not everybody's comfortable with the word revival, so we could call it something different if we want, but we know that we're watching a spiritual resurgence right now, particularly with young people. Are you
Yeah.
continuing to see that in your church, even months after that?
We are. And here's the thing, it's picking up momentum. Well, I mean, we've never seen anything like this before. And it's beyond marketing, it's beyond having the best church service. I mean, what we're seeing is that people legitimately want Jesus. I think that, like, especially this next generation, many of them, these are the iPad kids, right? So they've had social media, they binged it their whole life, and they're for the very first time starting to push it aside and say there's got to be more to life than this. And what's cool is I believe we're in a Joel chapter 2 movement where it's multi-generational, because I actually see grandparents going to church with their grandchildren who are Gen Z, and they're joining together, and it's a beautiful thing. And so again, the devil is on the move. He's out to kill, steal, and destroy. He's like this prowling lion, but there's another lion, the lion of the tribe of Judah, and he's roaring over our cities. And I'm praying that out of Times Square tomorrow, we're starting at 11 a.m. We release that roar louder than the lion that tries to kill, steal, and destroy. That's the goal. And yeah, every generation joined together doing it.
I love that. That is absolutely incredible. Again, let people know where they can go. You said it, but I want to give you a chance again if they want to watch this tomorrow, because it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, go just type. It's phonetic. I mean, it's an Italian last name, but Mike Signorelli, Signorelli. I've got 2 million subscribers on YouTube, so you can't miss it. But jump in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching from. Turn it up real loud and help me celebrate the risen Jesus.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Mike. As always, love having you on.
Billy, thank you so much for helping me sound the alarm.
Everyone else, make sure you head on over, check out Investigating the Supernatural, Angels and Demons. You can go to cbn.com/supernatural, and be sure to tune in tomorrow to watch Mike Signorelli and V1 Church in Times Square. We'll see you on Monday for another episode of the show.